starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go. Bass in your face. Bass in your face.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Uncommon Sense with Jose Negron. Now, for the benefit of those of you who are not familiar with the channel or watching this channel for the first time, the reason why it is called Uncommon Sense, because here on this platform, we discuss everyday issues where we try to find logical solutions, but not everyone uses logic. So for that reason, it is called Uncommon Sense. I also have another YouTube channel called Latina Diaspora, where I discuss issues pertaining to Latinos living in the United States. The description to that channel is in the link to that channel is in the description. I want to let everybody know that I'm currently live on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Also, I want to let everybody know that the subscriber mode has been enabled. Meaning, if you're not a subscriber and if you wish to enter a comment in the chat, you will need to subscribe to the channel. As always, I want to give a huge shout out to all those who have already subscribed to the channel. Whether you've been a supporter from the very beginning or just recently joined, I really appreciate your love and support. I also want to give a huge shout out to all those who follow me on social media, particularly Instagram and TikTok. Your support really touches my heart. I also want to give a huge shout out to all those who allow me to enter into your devices and those who watch from the clouds, even the haters. So, what I'm going to ask you to do, if you have not done so, I'm going to ask you to please subscribe, like, and set the bell notification to all. So, therefore, whenever I do produce content, you will have the opportunity to catch it live or catch it on the playback. So, as you can see by the thumbnail, tonight's topic is prayer, a Christian concept. So, I'm going to discussing what is prayer and what does it mean as it belongs to people who follow the teachings of Jesus. But before we go there, we're going to have another episode of In My Words. Now, of course, Andrew has announced that he's going to be running for the office of mayor. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with Andrew Cuomo, because he is the son of the late Mario Cuomo, who was the governor of New York for several years. His father, Mario Cuomo, also spoke in the 1984 Democratic Convention. And of course, Andrew Cuomo has a career where, among things, he was the Secretary of HUD under the Clinton administration. He also served as the Attorney General for the state of New York and governor of the state of New York until his resignation due to allegations regarding sexual harassment. Now, among many municipal employees, Mario Como is not looked upon with very favorable terms. First of all, there is the allegations where he misled regarding the number of deaths that occurred in the nursing homes under COVID-19, and also responsible for Tier 6. For those of you who are not familiar with local politics, and as far as that, that version of the pension plan, there are many inequities regarding Tier 6. First of all, among the inequities is that your contributions were very depending on income, number one. Number two, not all of your overtime is factored into your pension. And of course, instead of basing a fine average salary based on 3 years of work, it's based on five. So there are many other inequities. Also, like our current mayor, Andrew Cuomo has an aversion to addressing questions with the public. So basically, you want to become the chief executive of the city of New York, but yet you don't want to make yourself available to answer questions. And this is the same issue I have with the current mayor, Eric Adams. Okay. Okay, yes, I understand that there's certain legal difficult issues that he's encountering regarding allegations of corruption, things of that nature. Okay. However, it does not mean that he cannot just simply not answer those questions, but be available to answer questions regarding what have you done and why should you be given an opportunity to be mayor for another 4 years. Okay. And the one thing we have to bear in mind, he is innocent until proven guilty. So that's why when we speak about Eric Adams and regarding the charges, we have to state it is alleged. Okay. Okay. First of all, because his innocence or his guilt has not been proven. So number one, so I have to state that. And number two, there is the risk that if you state that a person is guilty of any criminal activity without it being stated, you expose yourself to libel. Good evening, Georgia. Thank you very much for stopping by. And of course, my dear brother from another mother has his own YouTube channel where he produces all the quality content. And also, when one thing I see that my friend is already in the panel, so let me just state for the record that the views of those who appear on the panel are not necessarily those of the host of the channel. Any attempt to copy the material without the consent of the host is prohibited. By appearing on the call, you waive your rights to your image. Some of the views that people hold may be considered offensive to some viewers. If you do not like the content, you can block the channel. And now we're going to bring in our guest. Good evening.
Good evening, bro. And I made sure to prioritize this stream because I know the importance of it. But carry on.
No, I was just before I get into the main topic, I usually have a segment called "In My Words." So, and of course, here there's a lot of talk regarding two of the candidates. One person who's the current mayor who wants to get reelected, and then there's another person who was our governor wants to become a mayor. Okay. And of course, he had to resign because of allegations regarding sexual harassment, plus allegations that he misled the public regarding the deaths that occurred in the nursing homes during COVID-19. And of course, these are allegations, so we have to state it because here in this country, no matter what, every person is innocent until proven guilty.
True.
So, but I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad that you're here, though, because it's great to discuss the topic of prayer with another believer. Okay, um, people have some misconceptions about what prayer is, so this is an opportunity for us to clarify it.
Yeah. And in layman's terms, what I will say is that prayer is not about, treating God like some magical genie or some magical potion. It's about trusting in his plan and his will, no matter what the outcome is going to be. It's something that's used to draw you closer to him, and it's something that will comfort you during times of hardship. So, because, like in Psalms 34, verse 18, it says, "The Lord is close to those who are brokenhearted and saves those who are hurting in the spirit," right? So, like, more importantly, prayer is about continuing to climb up the spiritual food chain. But
Yes.
there's always going to be an enemy to your prayer life. And those are the flesh, the enemy, and the world. Because all those things want to get you more in tune with your flesh and have your flesh define what prayer is. And your flesh wants it to be like a magical genie, but that's just not really what it is.
Yes. I want to
Yeah.
acknowledge that our friend April Showers is in the chat. Good evening. Thank you very much for stopping by. So tonight's topic is prayer, a Christian concept. Now, one thing that people sometimes they don't understand and treat it is that sometimes people treat God like he's an ATM machine.
Like there's called Jehovah Geico. Have you ever heard of that?
No, I heard Jehovah Jireh, I heard Jehovah Nisi, but never Jehovah Geico. That's a
Yep.
new one on me.
Yep. But based on the name of it, it speaks for itself. So do you
Yes.
have Jehovah Geico, Jose?
No, I never heard of it. I mean,
I don't, and I'm glad I don't.
no. But the thing is, prayer is basically communication with God. Okay, which is with our thoughts and in our words, and and one of the most effective ways that we can actually that God speaks to us is through the Bible itself.
Exactly.
And prayer. Okay, prayer. If you approach it with the correct mindset, it could be powerful. It could be a powerful source of encouragement. It could be a source of strength. It can calm you when you're dealing with trials and tribulations. Okay, and it's an acknowledgement that who we are.
Exactly.
Mhm. Okay, but
And not only calling
unfortunately,
on him when you're in trouble, but go on.
yes. Okay, and another thing, God is not like God. Okay, God. Okay. God is not like you have to dial 911. I mean, you shouldn't have to approach God only when there's a major crisis. I mean, you can approach God in prayer simply to be in thanksgiving for his faithfulness, for his love, for his compassion, for his mercy, or the
Exactly.
fact that he's patient with us.
Because you never know when the unexpected is going to happen, though. Because, I mean, me and you could both lose our place right now.
Yes.
And are we going to treat him like a auto insurance policy?
No. You
Exactly.
know, no. In fact, you know, the a good example is I'm trying to think. Oh dear, I'm having a senior moment. But there was a person in the Bible that um, that basically he came across a great deal of misfortune.
Job.
Yes, Job. Thank you. I was Job.
Job. Yeah, Job.
Yes. I mean, first of all, he lost all his riches. He lost his family. Okay. And actually, his wife actually said to Job, "Why don't you just curse God and die?"
Job ended up rising up strong in the very end, though, even though it was very tempting for him to just fall away from everything.
Mhm. And actually, the whole story happened when um, basically the adversary, which we call the devil, had a discussion with God, and God said, "See how faithful Job is." Well, the devil said, "Well, of course, hey, your blessing. If you remove his blessing, your blessings, he will curse you to your face." He never did.
Hmm.
Okay, and God even allowed the devil to afflict him with a skin disease, and even with that, he never cursed God.
Exactly, though, and it also brings us even to the conclusion is that suffering led to our salvation. And when we go, at least those like us and Job did not suffer in vain.
Yeah. Yes. And
And you know,
Mhm.
go on.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
And on that relevant note, I mean, you already know exactly what I do on the streets, Jose, and I did it again last night
Okay.
to at least a total of 4 individuals, making it very clear that, hey, I love them, I value them, I recognize your own dignity, and I pray for you too. And here's your blessing here in the meantime.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and I truly commend you for that because I
mhm.
think someone has to be truly be led by the Spirit to do that. Unfortunately, we cannot state um, fully what is the nature because we all know the ops are going to make their comments and what have you.
Yeah, exactly. So, oh, I will eventually come out with it. It's going to come out.
Yeah.
It will come out in the perfect timing. But
Yeah.
yeah, you and Dawn and Gigi know exactly what's going on.
Yeah.
But right now, it's a little bit of a mystery to other people, and they're just getting flooded with a lot of ideas. But definitely, the power of prayer is very relevant to Job's story and what you do, Jose, and what I'm doing out there on the streets and what I did last night.
Yes. And fact of the matter is, prayer is very powerful. And it can change your destiny, so to speak. I mean, what are you aware of the story of Hezekiah? I think it was Hezekiah. That
Hosea?
no, I think it's Hezekiah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay, so basically, for those of you who are not into scripture or anything like that, Hezekiah was one of the what's called the righteous kings of Judah. Okay, he was a person that feared God, loved God, was faithful to God. Okay, and then one day he received this notice: put your affairs together because you're going to die.
By the Assyrian, by when he was facing a threat by the Assyrian king who
Hmm.
threatened Jerusalem and God's people during that time.
Yeah.
But after he put all his faith and his refuge in the Lord sent an angel to destroy the Assyrian army and then thus saving Jerusalem. But his story does, yes, showcase just the importance of having faith and prayer and trusting him even in the face of crazy challenges.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But also,
Yep.
he was afflicted with an illness. And now what he did was basically he went to the Lord in prayer and he said to him basically more or less, I'm just summarizing. Look, I have been faithful to you all these years. I have never disobeyed any of your decrees or what have you. And he wept. The Lord was touched by his prayers, that not only did he heal Hezekiah, but gave him 15 more years of life.
Second Chronicles and
Okay.
Second Kings too.
Yes. I mean, and the Bible is full of many instances where prayer has changed people's lives. Okay. Also, we all know the story of of Jonah going to Nineveh. Okay. Now, Nineveh was this huge city in ancient times. Okay. And even though Jonah didn't want to go to Nineveh, he went. And he said, and he prophesied in 40, I think it was in 30 or 40 days, the city would be destroyed. Well, what happened was everybody, and I mean everybody from the king on downward, they all prayed, they all repented, they put on ashes and sackcloth, they fasted, and God spared the city of Nineveh from destruction.
Yep. Even though Jonah at first refused and acted in disobedience, but we saw the consequences of that. But he did eventually go.
Yes.
And as a result, Nineveh got saved.
Yes.
Unlike Sodom and Gomorrah. Except for Lot.
Well, for those who are not familiar with the story of Sodom and Gomorrah, those was two cities that were known to be exceedingly wicked. Okay, in many ways. So Abraham, actually went to God and interceded regarding the people of Nineveh, and he asked if 50 people was found to be righteous, would God spare the cities? So God said he would. Then he went on, what if there were only 40 left righteous people? What if there were only 30 righteous people? What if there was only 10? God said he would spare the cities of Nineveh, Sodom and Gomorrah, for the sake of 10 righteous people.
Exactly.
Because unfortunately, some people paint God as some sort of like an angry person that wanting to do like a spiritual gotcha and send you to a fiery furnace to spend eternity. No. God is compassionate and merciful, but yet he's going to allow you to receive the consequences of your actions.
Yeah, I mean, like, you can even be secular and notice that too, though, about how actions have consequences, right?
Yes.
And you would understand, even if you're secular, though, that you still have to strive for righteousness, right? It doesn't mean being self-righteous, but righteousness in a general sense, right?
Yes.
And you would also understand maybe how it's probably best to deny a handful of aspects of how your flesh wants to roll. Like if you tend to be like a very arrogant person, I think that people want to tell you to please get your ego in check, right? Or if you
Yes.
happen to be somebody who's very, very lust driven, you're very raunchy, you have a tendency to make very sexually charged jokes. I think people are going to say you need to tone down on that stuff, right? Or if
Mhm.
you're envious, so you have a tendency to be very envious, right?
Yes.
Your friends are going to look at you like you want to compete with them all the time. Then I think you should deny that, right?
I think so. I think you're absolutely correct. I
So
mean,
therefore, I think the Lord has imprinted his morals into our hearts, encoded his morals into our hearts to a great extent, to even where a person who doesn't really know God can see consequences of sin for the examples that I just provided, because you don't have to be taught that. I think you automatically know that there's a serious problem when somebody is taking their lust way too far, or like their corn addiction too far, or their arrogance too far, or their envy too far, right?
mhm.
You don't have to be taught that. It's already been encoded into your heart to know better.
I
And where
agree.
does it come from?
I mean, in other words, there are people that may not know anything about God, but yet they have some sort of a moral compass.
Yes. And where does that compass come from?
Well, I mean, I believe it comes from God. Now, there are
Yep.
people that will attribute it to, their upbringing with their parents or parent or someone that provided them with some sort of uh, set of values. But it all comes from God.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Excuse the upbringing, so I think your average Joe already has that encoded into them already, though.
Yes. And not only that, but many of them also have a sense of accountability for their actions.
Exactly.
Okay. Which unfortunately, that seemed to be lacking on certain individuals today.
Yeah, but there's a lot of people, though. It's just like the end times that we're just living in, though.
Yes. I mean, if you okay, I mean, even if you're not into the Bible
Hey,
or
Don.
any, or good evening, Don Armando. Thank you very much for stopping by. Um, or you have, or you've been grown up with any devoid with any type of religious upbringing. Uh, there's a thing called cause and effect. Okay, you do positive things, it's going to create positive effects. You do negative things, you're going to create negative effects.
Exactly.
Okay. Unfortunately, nowadays we live. But I mean, particularly if you take a look at social media and you take a look, say, especially on TikTok, where you have individuals of both sexes um, talking about things that happen to them, but not being able to take accountability for their actions.
Or they just don't really want to.
Yeah.
Hearts are very hardened, so yeah, you're not going to be able to do it because you know that you would be putting yourself in a vulnerable spot, right?
Yes.
Who wants to be
I mean,
vulnerable?
yes.
So
And
there you
and
go.
yeah, and in all fairness, at times I wonder if what gets posted on social media are real or they're just a whole bunch of skits.
A lot of skits.
Yeah, I mean, lately there's been a lot chatter from this single mom that I think she's 26 years old, and she has 7 children from I think 4 or 5 different baby daddies.
I think I know who you're talking about, but keep going.
But yet she's having a hard time with the concept why people would not approach her for a serious relationship.
Okay, well, I'm going to also look at it like this, though, from like, like a godly standpoint, though. So it's not to say that the Lord can't really send her somebody who could actually potentially adopt all of those children, and they could all become like a happy, fulfilling family, though, because I have seen, some stories like that even on my Facebook feed, like this mother, the single mother who had, I think, about 4 kids still, but I think that they were all with the same dad. But I guess the dad just doesn't want to involve himself in his kids' life. This other guy
Yeah.
came around, blessed the family, and became the new dad. And now to
Mhm.
this very day, they're happy and fulfilling. So this single mother here who has like, I guess you could say a lot of baby daddies and a lot of kids, she could face that though. And I actually do pray that something like that could come to fruition for her. But then also at the same time, there's still some consequences for that though, because a lot of men, even if they are godly men, a part of them just doesn't really want to take on a responsibility of taking care of another man's child.
Mm.
And then also, I can admit, it's a lot of baggage too.
Yeah.
And not everybody's going to be equipped to handle that.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying that she can never find a
Mhm.
suitable mate. The problem is, first of all, she's gonna have to own up to the fact that she made some poor choices, particularly with the fact with who she decided to know. If you get my drift.
Yes, it's just because, those are complicated situations too. Like maybe the men could be deadbeats. I don't know them. I don't know them and I don't know their characters either. But then
Yeah.
at the same time, it could also be her too. It could also be her because I can admit that there are just a lot of times where some women really, really do not want to be two-sided. They want to be one-sided and point the fingers at him, when in fact, it looks like she's been having a lot of skeletons in the closet herself, such as maybe being very controlling, very domineering, having a bunch of trauma-filled responses and not really getting together her own traumas.
Mhm.
Yes, just about the stuff that would actually instantly push a man away so far to where he doesn't even want to come back. It does happen.
Yeah. And
That could be it.
one thing I always say when a relationship ends for whatever reason, okay, whatever reason, it's not good to jump into another relationship until whatever trauma that came from it is dealt with. Because the problem is
Yes.
when you get into another relationship without dealing with the trauma involved, basically what you're doing is you're bringing the baggage from the previous relationship into the new relationship. Therefore, you're damaging the new relationship, and it gets to be a repeating cycle.
Rebounding without addressing all of your underlying issues. You then give yourself a lot of time to heal, or better yet, that clearly is not really a man whom you could actually have a fulfilling marriage with because you only date to marry.
Yeah,
And you
and
need
not
to
only
know,
that, yeah,
is
and
that a
not
God ordained marriage?
yeah,
Keep going.
and not only that. I mean, another problem is dealing with the baby daddies. Okay, because the fact that, first of all, because they may have something, trying to regain the relationship, and then there's the issue where you cannot properly discipline the children because they'll be the first one to tell you that you're not their biological father, and heaven
Oh
forbid
yeah.
if you try discipline them without having a discussion with the mom, and it gets very ugly.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Let me even like tell you this though, like when it came to even like my son, like Noah and everything though. So just me knowing my ex during that time, yeah, she probably wouldn't take too kindly to another woman, being motherly towards her. I mean, not towards her, but towards him.
Yeah.
I could see that happening though. Just me knowing her at least at the time in past tense and what she was like during that time, and just a lot of jealousy that was like going on during that time. Yeah, I could understand if even a woman wouldn't want to deal with me because of a baby mama situation too. Okay.
Mm, yeah,
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 because I've even asked a few women, would they date a man who already has some kids? They said no, because they don't want to have to deal with some baby mama or baby daddy drama. Or then the baby mama reaching out to the new woman, I guess the stepmom, saying that, hey, you didn't carry him for 9 months. That's my child, though, so you better watch yourself. It does
yeah,
happen.
yeah.
Who wants to deal with that?
And these are things that people need to take into consideration. But going back to the returning to the topic of prayer. I mean, there are many occasions for prayer. There's petition. You can intercede to God for another person's situation. You can also pray just with thanksgiving for all the things that God has done and how God has been patient with us. Uh, you can
Exactly.
al- you can also share with God what you're going through and all the struggles that you're dealing with.
Much like how Abraham interceded on behalf of his nephew Lot. And that's how
Yes.
Lot and his family ended up getting saved throughout the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah. Like that.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Lot's wife was not obedient, and we all know what happened to her.
She didn't make it.
No, she got turned into a statue of salt.
Yep. Pillar of salt, as they say.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So,
And then look at what I wrote in the private chat, though.
okay, let me just take a look.
It still is relevant to this too.
Okay, yes, definitely. We definitely.
Yeah, just
Um,
don't say their names.
no, 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 no,
Yeah,
no.
these are the
Believe
folks
me.
out there in the where, out there in real
Okay.
time. But
Yeah.
yep, but this is a very discreet stream. It's a very discreet private chat, but it's going to be like this for now on, though.
Yes. And
And
also,
I love these individuals very much.
yes,
And let's pray for them, Jose. Okay.
definitely. Also we have to bear in mind that in the first 2 or 3 centuries of the existence of Christianity, that there was a great deal of persecution, and that many of them faced deletion other than abandoning their beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, even when they were being deleted, you know, the believers prayed for those that were doing the deed, so to speak. I mean, Stephen,
Much
who
like
was the
Jesus.
first, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, no, no. Go on about Stephen.
Yeah, he was the first. He was the first person to actually was deleted for his faith in Christianity. And while he was being deleted, he prayed for those that were um, persecuting him.
Yep. Much like how even Jesus himself said, "Forgive them, Father, for they do not know."
Yes,
And the question is, can you do
and
that? I would.
yeah,
And I'm pretty sure that,
that's a yeah, that's something
yeah,
that's
like,
something requires a great deal of. I'm sorry. Go
I
ahead.
agree. Or just in recent times
Yeah.
about how those 70 Christians who were deleted in the Congo. Did you hear about that?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes, I
we know
heard
what
about
happened.
that.
And I
I
saw
think.
the video too.
Yeah. I think, if unless I'm mistaken, Lady Creole Marmalade made light about it, or was it another Creole creator?
I didn't see a video of hers pop up on my news feed though. The only thing I saw about her was just the Mardi Gras festival and the issues that come with it, though, along with something else regarding ancestry.
Yeah.
But maybe it was somebody else. But no, I
It
didn't
might have been
see.
some. It might have been someone else. The name escapes me, but it's another. Actually, it's another content creator who is Creole. Um, Unfortunately, the name escapes me.
Yeah, I
But
mean, I'm looking at her page right now, though, and no, she didn't really make a video about the Christians who were deleted in the Congo.
mhm. But
Other than I
let's
see her
see.
last one was the SNL sketch, and then other one was Christ over culture, which I definitely firmly agree with. But that's it. That's all I see.
Yeah, I guess it must have been the other contact career, which unfortunately I cannot recall her name.
Mhm.
But she's also another young content creator who's also Creole, and it appears that she's a believer just like us.
Oh, nice. I'll tell you this, man. I mean, as far as those of being Creole descent, we tend to be believers. We tend to be believers. That's what I will for sure say.
Well, this is something I'm just coming to this knowledge now. I mean, there's still a great deal about Creoles that I don't know anything about, and I'll be the first one to admit it.
Yeah, it's no worries. So that's why we're all here to learn. Even I myself still have a lot to learn about it as well, though.
Hmm. Yes, that is so. That is so true. But I mean, when you think about actually, and I recall. Do you ever recall the story regarding Corey Ten Boom?
Corey Ten Boom?
Yes.
Not ringing a bell.
Okay. Well, actually, she was a believer, but she was sent to the Nazi concentration camps during World War II, and of course, she witnessed a great deal of cruelty inflicted not only against her but against her family. One day, one of the guards that worked in the concentration camp approached her and ask her, could she, in her heart of hearts, forgive the God for what he did?
Hmm.
And she forgave him.
Beautiful. Well, Jesus does say that you will pretty much be turned over to demonic oppression if you don't. Like, because you
Yes.
know about the parable of the unforgiving servant in the
Oh,
book of,
yes.
there we go.
I would not want to be in that person's shoes in any length of time.
Hmm. It's much like
But
how I know that you fully forgive um, Zach, for instance. You may not want to reconcile, but you do even forgive him fully too, and I know you do.
well, like I said, and this is something that I've said that we have said this many times.
Hmm.
Forgiveness does not mean restoration. You can forgive a person and not have anything to do with the person again.
Hmm.
Okay.
Exactly. Doesn't mean hold hands and sing kumbaya because I already know you're not going to with him at all.
Let's just say, for the sake of, let's just say that the likelihood of that happening is extremely small.
Well, like you said, though, you can have your whole family get down on their knees and beg you to do it, and you're still going to say no.
No, I mean,
But you do care about him still, and you still forgive him, just at a distance.
yeah. I mean, look, and let me tell you something. I recognize that there are individuals that have mental issues. Yeah, but I do believe in accountability. And look, I even forgave my ex-wife for all the trauma she brought upon me.
Hmm.
Now, if there's a possibility that we're going to break bread,
No,
I don't think so.
no, you already have a new woman, man, and you never know whether you might become a daddy for the first time. If you remember that conversation, right? Because you did not hesitate to say yes if your new lady, put it out there. Remember?
Yeah, yes.
So you
And
never know, dude.
besides
And
that,
the Lord may have it in His will for you to finally
yes,
become a dad.
yes. And besides that, she's already remarried. So, and I, like I said, and I say, and I don't no, and I say, I'm hopeful that things do work out. I say, even she were to come back the way she lives, she will never be walking to my house because people that betray me will never enter my house again. I mean,
Yeah,
look, this is
and also Dawn, dude. Like I spoke to my ex just this past November, which is how many months ago? Let's see, December, January, like pretty much 4 months ago. I talked to her. I talked to her. It was brief though, but I made it abundantly clear that I fully forgive the situation. I even had to get delivered of some of my soul wounds too, and that I do support you in terms of you moving forward in your life. And I'm glad that I did. Now, I cannot really exactly specifically talk about, like everything else. I'll have to probably tell you that in the private chat or
yes.
backstage just to protect her. But yeah, I think it went very well because a lot of us are just not going to really do that. But if it's put on your heart to do it, go for it.
Yeah.
And I thought it
Um,
was
y-
a very humbling experience between both of us.
yes.
But are we going to now? I would still actually, by the way, welcome her to follow me on here, Facebook, and TikTok. I will allow her to follow us on here.
Okay.
But is she going to come into my house? Are we going to start over? No, I don't even want that.
No. I mean, look, like I said before, and I said it, and I said this, we were both responsible for the marriage ending. I don't
Same.
harbor any ill will, but me going back to her, no.
Same here. No, dude,
Okay.
man, look, I've already even been really open about this though, but at the time I was incredibly naive, dealing with some self-esteem and self-respect issues too. Just allowing myself to just be like a volunteer to like abuse too. And then also me being very immature
Yes.
as well. A lot of that stuff, and also very stubborn too. A lot
Yes.
of that stuff, those traits are also going to make you a part of the problem too, no
Yes.
matter what wrong she may have done. It doesn't
Yes.
excuse what she did, but how I was also no excuse either.
Yes. I just want to highlight this comment from Donna Mountain. Stay away from people that lack accountability. And that was, you see, that's the problem um, with a couple of my exes. Okay. Like I had one ex that basically it took her 25 years before it finally dawned on her that she broke my heart. Now I don't harbor ill will, but would I go back with her? No.
Like, even if she got down on her knees and said that she's willing to make it all up to you and everything, I'm even if my
No.
ex were to do that, the answer is no. Like I said, she can follow me, but that's about as far as it's going to go, okay?
See okay,
At
first
your
of all,
Can she follow
yeah,
you on here?
I mean she can follow me. I have no problem. I mean I have no problem.
Yeah.
But first of all, among the issues that existed, first of all, at the very least, she's no longer a believer. She embraced a different faith system. So therefore we will be unequally yoked, number one. Number two, the fact that it took her this long to take accountability. That's that's not a good thing. And there are other issues which I prefer not to mention here on this platform. But like I said before, I don't harbor any ill will. But me going back with her, no.
Right. But I still pray for her, though. I even actually sent out a prayer even for my ex as well.
Yeah.
I'm
But
not
you know
such
the funny, yeah. But the funny thing is, she listens to Christian music, but yet she's Jewish, which is I don't understand that. But
interesting. Maybe she is searching, though.
it could be. It could be. It's not my. It's not my place to speculate, though.
Donald Rondo, he says, my ex in her mind, I'm her arch nemesis. In my mind, I forgive her, but never want to see her again. Fair enough. Sorry, excuse me.
I mean,
I also wrote something in the chat, private chat, and that's why I'm not really going to talk openly about it. You see it?
okay, yeah, I see it. I see it. I mean, look. One thing we have to bear. One thing we have to make it perfectly clear. Forgiveness is one thing. Um, Regaining a person's trust is something else.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And when it comes to look when and like I said, when it comes to sacrifice, I don't hold no ill will. But him being welcome back on my platform,
Never.
no.
Exactly. That's why, like I said, it'll all be on my platform. Between you two, and me and Don are going to be the mediators. Don will be my co-mediator when that time comes.
Yes, I see your point. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, look, like I said, I will discuss it, but if he does
You
get out,
pray for him too, right?
yeah, I do. But if he does get out of line, I will vacate.
Understood.
Yeah.
Then also, I
But
wrote
yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
my another point too in the private chat. Still relevant to all of this stuff regarding
Yes.
prayer and God's character.
Yes. And also another thing when it comes to prayer is no, the Bible teaches us to pray for our enemies. Pray for people who persecute us, or in our case, our ops. And people wondering, well, why would you pray for your ops? First of all, because you don't know, we don't know um, what they're going through. They might be under some sort of a spiritual bondage that they are not in a position to see.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why we pray for those who are our ops.
I do too.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Matthew 5 verse 44, it says, "Hey, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you." Does that mean
Yeah.
put up with the injustice and the craziness? Nope. Nope. But it does mean that you allow God to work in their lives and demonstrate our trust in God's sovereignty.
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, they still are somebody who was created in the image of God, and they are also still seen as equal value as us, though, regardless of how our flesh feels about it.
Yes.
So, but the thing is, they don't see that, but we clearly see it.
Mm-hmm. And actually, the Lord's Prayer, when you this is something that people they don't fully understand. But you know what the part about the Lord's Prayer when we ask God to forgive us as we forgive others,
Mm-hmm.
okay? People they don't understand the significance of that. So basically, we're asking when we mention that part, we're asking God to be as merciful to us as we are to others.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and the fact that, and in fact, the parable of the unfaithful servant. I mean, what happened was he had this huge debt that he was in no position to pay. So he sought mercy from the king. The king forgave the debt. And then he came across another servant that owed a small amount. So instead of showing compassion and mercy towards the servant, he had the servant arrested and sent to prison. So word went to the king, and what happened was this servant was sent to prison. So it talks us, if we do not forgive others of what they've done to us, we cannot ask God to forgive us.
Exactly.
And people say, well, this person hurt me. This person betrayed me. This person stole from me. This person did this. Okay, well, yes. Yes. But one thing we have to bear in mind, don't say the Lord's Prayer unless you understand that what you're asking God to be as merciful to you as you are to others.
Exactly. And that's also, and the question is, what's so easy about that? Like they say, what's so easy about that? What's so easy about holding off until you're married? It's easy about that. Or denying yourself, what's easy about that? because all people know is how to act in the fruit of the flesh.
Yeah. I mean, look. I mean, look. It's understandable when you see um, a woman um, dressed in a provocative sort of way, and she approaches you and gets to be kind of flirtatious, and then next thing you know it, the carnal desire starts to get stirred up, and next thing you know it, you're thinking about doing uh, things with her and things of that nature. Next thing you know it, you think about engaging in adult activity, so to speak. Good evening, Irby. Thank you very much for stopping by. Um, the fact, unfortunately, there's some people, uh, they usually let their organ lead them instead of their.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Jose. Wow, man. That was so blunt of you to say.
I know, but I just try to keep it as PG rated.
PG-13. This is like I said, we are the PG-13 crew,
Okay.
right?
Yes.
The
Now, for the
PG-13.
benefit of those who are just tuning in, we're talking about prayer, a Christian concept. So, of course, those who are not Christians, they may not fully understand what we're talking about. All I ask is to at least approach it with an open mind. I mean, we're not gonna. I mean, obviously, certain people have certain views when it comes to prayer. All I ask that you at least keep approaching with an open mind.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But the fact of the matter is, unfortunately, you have certain people that are led by their carnal desires.
Yes.
Okay. So, and of course, let's keep it real. Uh, intercourse was meant to be pleasurable, but it meant to be pleasurable within the confines of marriage, not before and not after.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Because if it's before, it's fornication. Outside, it's adultery.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I appreciate it. I just that look, I just state that because um I don't want anyone that's not a Christian to feel alienated with what we're talking about. But try to approach it with an open mind.
Exactly, though. And then that's just why whenever I'm out there on the streets, as I was last night doing my thing, I made it abundantly clear to the individuals is that I'm not coming around here with this condemning spirit, though, because I'm pretty sure that some of them have had to face somebody like that or somebody who's just like a modern day Pharisee. But no, 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 you can't be like that if you're trying to reach others.
Well, again, one thing we have to bear in mind is not everyone has a developed moral compass. Not everyone is blessed with like a parental figure that plays on them certain values, or it could
Mhm.
be that there might be certain circumstances that they're dealing with that they have to survive. And again, we're not excusing illicit behavior. It's just that we're trying to um, there is a set of circumstances that some people don't are not fully aware of.
Exactly.
Yes. And again, it's one thing to condemn a certain action or activity, But what is your alternative? What is your solution?
Good question.
Okay. And again, this was a question that I raised one time in one of Radical Latino lives, where there was this one dude that was talking about how uh okay, well,
It's going to be a
but
Christian family that you and your new lady are going to have. So
yeah, but basically there was this person that was
carry on.
talking
Sorry.
about how women from the Dominican Republic had to survive doing some illicit activities. So I just asked the dude, okay, fine. You're not in favor of what they are doing. What is your solution? Okay. And basically what came out of the dude was crickets.
Chirp, chirp, chirp.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because people, it kind of reminds me of our other conversation in regard to how people don't want to propose practical solutions because they want to keep the drama on life support so that they can maintain the relevance.
Yeah. And one thing we have to bear in mind is that in the Dominican Republic, they don't have like the safety net like what we have here in New York, like we have here in the United States. Because look, if you fall on for a hard times, you can. There are social services like cash assistance, SNAP benefits, Medicaid. You could also apply for unemployment, and then there's Section 8. So there are things that are there to help people. Um, you know what? I'm gonna pray for a healthy child.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well,
Cross-
I was alluding to that, Dynamo. It's just that I didn't want to go into the.
Yeah, just because I guess since we are the PG-13 crew on here, we kind of have to keep it PG-13 for YouTube purposes, though. But yeah, we get it
Yeah,
though.
because I
In
don't
the
want.
chat, though, it's fine though. But I guess if we're speaking about it on the live, it's a different case though. That's where on the live we have to keep it PG-13.
Yeah, but this is. I mean, it is legal, and of course, look. The fact of the matter is, you have poverty in the Dominican Republic, so people got to do what they need to do in order to survive. Okay, it's not like. And Donna Mano, you can confirm this. It's not like they don't have the financial resources. They don't have like as extensive a safety net that they have over here that we have here in the United States. So people have got to do what they got to do in order to survive.
Yeah, and I also asked the question too on a relevant point in the chat, the private chat.
Okay, let me just take a look. Um, I'm sure there are ministries that can. Yes. I
Okay.
mean, look. And actually, there are many. Look, okay, I can only speak within um, my denominational affiliation, but you do have several ministries out there. Like for example, one of the ministries that we have is called who unfortunately made the decision to have their unborn baby deleted.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And for those of you who are not familiar, it goes from the biblical account where King Herod had the babies under the age of 2 deleted because he feared the fact that Jesus would take over his kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, you heard um, the women weeping. That sort of symbolizes Rachel weeping. So that's where it comes from. So basically, it's a ministry in the Catholic Church. We're dealing with women and men who have, for whatever reason, um, played a role in someone having their unborn child deleted.
Wow. Yeah, that's crazy. Wow.
Yes, but prayer. Um, it's communication between yourself and God. Okay, uh, and also they're very scriptural verses that talks about praying in the right way and praying in the wrong way.
Uh-huh.
Uh, in in the book of James, it refers to how uh, you don't receive because you don't pray about it, and when you do pray, it's not within the proper context because um, it could be because your motivation is not there, it's not proper, or you're lacking the faith that exists.
You're praying for selfish reasons.
Correct.
Yeah, that's not going to be honored.
Like for example, let's say you're praying for $1 million so you can live this lavish lifestyle. I mean, you're not praying with the proper intent. Um, or praying for a Mercedes Benz or a Ferrari. However, I mean, you can pray for, say, a minivan that you can use, that you can, it could be like a sort of like a ministry, like helping, bringing elderly members of your congregation to church, or things, or other, or like an outreach. That's a different motivation.
Or praying that I could get $1 million and indulge in all of these lavish trips. I'm like, no, 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 no.
Yes. Unfortunately, we have, of course, you heard about the prosperity gospels.
Yes.
You have certain, yeah, you have certain individuals that taught, well, if you if you pray, if you give enough seed money, you can get unlimited riches, and that's not what the gospel is about.
Not at all. Mm-mm.
Okay, because we all know that uh, the love of money is the root of evil. It does not mean that you cannot have money. It's just that you cannot treat money as like
Idolize
an
it.
idol.
Mm-mm.
Okay? But unfortunately, when you have some individuals that talk about this prosperity gospel, it basically what it does is uh, it treats money as an idol.
Mm-hmm.
And also, also their verses. Actually, this verse is talking about, well, when you pray, it should not be like some sort of like a show that people can say and talk about, oh, how holy you are because you're praying out loud so everyone can see you. And actually, what Jesus said was, you already gotten your reward. In fact, when you pray, um, you should pray in secret. Now, it does not mean that you cannot pray with members of your congregation. But when it gets to be like pray so people can say, "Oh, my motivation is not correct."
Because selfish motives and prayers are not going to ever be honored, though. And then plus that starts to creep into pride too.
Yes. And of course, the perfect example of this is Luke chapter 19, verses 1 to 10, where two people went to the temple to pray. One was a Pharisee, the other was a tax collector. So basically, the Pharisee basically got up and he said, "Well, look at me, God. I tithe. I do this. I do that. I do that. I'm not like this tax collector over here in the back." So basically, it's me.
That's
Okay.
not coming in with a humble
So
heart. Yeah,
obviously, this.
they called him the tax
No,
collector, the
no.
publican too. The
Yes.
publican. But yeah, that's what the tax collector was called, the publican, and yeah, the Pharisee too. But the Pharisee was coming in there with
Yes.
selfish motives too, and a not so humbled heart.
Yes. Now the publican, on the other hand, recognized his state before God and wouldn't even dare lift up his head. And he just simply said, his prayer was, "Be merciful to me, I am a sinner."
Exactly.
Okay. He didn't talk about, "Oh, I collected this number. I collected this much money from Rome or whatever, or I got this much people from from the other people." He just simply said, "Hey, I'm a sinner. Be merciful to me."
Exactly.
And another example of prayer was when Jesus was being crucified. He was being crucified with two other people who committed capital offenses. So the first person said, "Well, if you're the Son of God, spare yourself and us." So the other person, the other thief, rebuked the first thief and said, "Don't you fear God? We are being punished because we deserve what we get. We've been properly sentenced." But Jesus did not do anything wrong. And they actually said to Jesus, "Remember me when you enter into your kingdom." That thief humbled himself and died as a believer.
Mhm. Thief on the cross. There we go.
Okay.
You will be with me in paradise.
Yes. So that talks about how prayer is powerful and God, how rich is God's mercy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Whew. Well, Jose, let's see here. So I'm gonna have to probably step down for a bit.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you stopping by. I'm going to be live on Tuesday, and the topic would be is keeping sane in an insane world.
Uh, which day again?
Tuesday.
Okay. Okie dokie. But yeah,
All
it's
right.
been a very edifying conversation, and I greatly appreciate it.
Well, I greatly appreciate you stopping by.
But yeah, I'm like, I have to catch today's stream though. But yeah, it's almost been going for a good hour and a half.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm going to stop to wrap this up soon. I don't think anybody else is going to stop by. But like I said, the link is The link is in the chat. And anyone wants to opine, even if they disagree, as long as they keep it, respectable, no problem.
Yeah, I was hoping that Ramon would come on.
I don't think. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna put it this way. When it comes to certain topics, I think he's gonna look at things in a different way, and I attributed that to his upbringing and also his circumstances. So obviously, there's certain topics he's not going to approach.
I understand. Yeah, even though that we've always welcomed him up here, though, and he, because I noticed that he was a little bit worried about whether he would offend us, and I'm like, you can't offend me and Jose because we have very thick skin.
I mean, look, like I said,
Not
I have
big
been,
deals over here.
I have been called a lot worse. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna mention it here because we all know.
Yes. And I will say this, Ramon is definitely going to be somebody who I will be praying for because we already know that Ramon is next.
Yeah,
He's next.
yeah,
And that's all I'm going to say. He's next. So,
yeah. I mean, and you know what? I would not, and I hate to say this, but I would not be surprised because unfortunately, that's how certain individuals operate. And even though I have not said anything specific, we all know that a certain individual has taken issue with what I said. So be it.
mhm. Yeah, but much love and much prayers to Ramon, even though he's next.
Yes,
He's
definitely,
next.
definitely. But in any case, thank you very much for stopping by.
Take care.
You too. So now, of course, some of you are wondering why I do discuss these topics. These are things that are important to me, and these are things that I believe in sharing. Now, of course, I'm mindful of the fact that not everyone share my beliefs. So I'm just trying to bring it forward in a way that's educational and not being judgmental because unfortunately we do some of us do come across as being judgmental. You gotta keep it real. And I think they fail to understand that when we judge others, we're going to be judged in the same way. So it's best to avoid judging. I mean, you can make observations, that's true. Okay. Based on actions that have been taken. But being judgmental, it does not go well. Particularly if you're trying to, if you're trying to portray yourself in a certain way and you're not that certain way. Um, but what I will state that how you approach prayer says what you are as a person. And prayer, I mean, it doesn't. It could be something as simple as a few words said every day. There's no such thing as an imperfect prayer. God receives all prayer said sincerely. So, with that being said, I just want to state that I will be live Tuesday, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and the topic will be being sane in an insane world. And unfortunately, within the last few years, we have, all of us have been through many things. Um, First of all, being through COVID and then going through things that's happening when it comes to politics and also things with our personal lives. So I'm going to be sharing with you how to keep sanity and in insane times. So it's not okay. So I, of course, all of you are more than welcome to stop by, whether it be live or on the chat. And just a huge shout out to everyone in the chat. And I appreciate the fact that my friend Georgia stopped by to opine. So my final words when it comes to prayer, um, it is a form of communication. There are many ways that you can pray, but the simplest way is just to be honest with God, with what's on your heart. And of course, uh, I'm going to close the same way that I always close. We must do everything possible to avoid the presence of the mentally and intellectually challenged, because if we fail to do that, we will be infected by the stupidity and massive insanity. This has been another episode of Uncommon Sense with Jose Negron, saying good night, take care, and peace.